Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 9 to 22. These are Paul's very last recorded words, really. It's incredibly personal, almost like reading someone's final diary entry. You get this fascinating mix of, high drama facing death and these really mundane, everyday requests.
Absolutely. And that contrast is kind of our mission today. We want to unpack the surprises here.
Yeah.
Like, who exactly left him? What were these specific, maybe even strange items he asked for? And crucially, where did he find his confidence when, everyone seemed to bail on him? The sources really draw this stark contrast, don't they? The reliability of the world versus something much more constant, a divine presence.
Okay, yeah, let's dig into that feeling of abandonment first. Paul's clearly alone, right? But why? He spells it out. Demas left. And the reason given is stark. In love with this present world, he went off to Thessalonica.
And that phrase, this present world, is doing a lot of work there. It suggests Demas wasn't just, scared in a general way. He specifically chose safety, comfort, maybe business opportunities. Whatever Thessalonica represented, it was the immediate, the tangible, overstaying with Paul and facing almost certain persecution. It was a trade-off.
And it goes deeper. Paul says at his first defense, likely an initial hearing, absolutely no one stood by him. They all deserted him. Only Luke, it seems, stuck around. Luke alone was with him.
Yeah, imagine that isolation. But then what's so striking is how Paul pivots. Right in the middle of this human crisis, he's thinking about logistics. It almost seems jarring, doesn't it, to go from that level of betrayal to asking Timothy to bring the cloak he left behind with Carpus in Troas?
It does. Like you're facing execution and you're worried about a coat, but maybe that's just human nature. Sometimes in huge stress, you fixate on a simple physical need, that warm coat.
Perhaps. But the other requests are, I think, even more revealing about his state of mind, his priorities. He asks for the books, scrolls maybe, but then emphasizes, above all, the parchments.
Right, that detail, above all. This wasn't just some casual reading. What were these parchments, do we think?
Well, that's the fascinating question. Parchment was expensive, durable. It suggests importance. Could they have been legal documents for his defense? Maybe. Yeah. Or perhaps more likely, given Paul, copies of the scriptures. Or maybe his own notes, arguments against heresies that were already cropping up. Think about that. Facing death, and his priority is study materials, foundational knowledge. His intellectual and spiritual work wasn't finished in his mind.
And this isn't just about people drifting away passively. There were active threats, too. He names Alexander the coppersmith, says he did him great harm and strongly opposed our message. He even warns Timothy, beware of him.
Exactly. This wasn't just loneliness, it was active opposition. Probably someone influential, maybe testifying against him, a real tangible enemy.
Which makes Paul's reaction, his perspective shift, even more powerful. Because despite all this, the desertion, the active harm, you don't sense bitterness in his writing. He actually says about those who deserted him, may it not be charged against them.
Incredible, isn't it? He refuses to let human failure be the last word. He completely shifts his focus. This is where we get to the heart of it, I think. He acknowledges the human failure. Yes, no one stood by me, but immediately pivots. Verses 17 and 18 are key. But the Lord stood by me and strengthened me.
Ah, right. So that the message could be fully proclaimed. And he talks about being rescued from the lion's mouth.
Yes, that's the core. Men failed him utterly, but his strength came from elsewhere. The Lord stood by him. And that connects directly to what tempted Demas, that glitter, as some sources put it, of the present world. Paul's experience is the counter-argument. Nothing in this world, no influence, no safety, no person could give him what he needed in that moment.
Only that divine assurance.
Precisely. His confidence wasn't in his circumstances improving or people changing their minds. It rested squarely on the promise that the Lord will rescue him, ultimately, and bring him safely into his heavenly kingdom. That future reality was more real to him than his present suffering.
So, thinking about this for you listening, Paul gives us a model, doesn't he? How to find strength, real assurance when people let you down, when circumstances look bleak, when the human safety net just isn't there.
That's the takeaway. His ultimate reliance kicked in when everything else failed. And let's circle back to that intriguing request right at the start. Even facing the end, Paul desperately wanted those parchments, his sources, his learning. So maybe the final thought for you today is this. How vital is that continuous learning, that reliance on foundational knowledge and truth for you? Especially when your own world, personal or professional, feels like it might be shaking apart. What is it that truly strengthens you that you can rely on? Trust in that.